because I vetted over 300 girls and they all actually carbon copy of one another. She's hot, she looks good, she sway the hips, colors, the eyeshadow, the cheekbones. We should be paying more attention to how long her nails are or her nose is pokey, or is actually gonna sacrifice and be waking up super early.
Because you guys didn't just look in America. We're in California today, but you guys been looking all over the world.
Yes. She, of course, she's on the deen.
Okay.
She obeys Allah and all His commandment and everything that was mentioned in the book. Trying to humiliate the Sahabiyat. She's obedient, of course, to me. I don't want her to work.
Obedience, which is a trigger word.
Because this is why we like young, virgin, not tempered, not promiscuous women. Most of girls are combative today. They have these masculine characteristics. Or she's gonna be another challenge for you. I don't need a challenge. And then what do you end with? A woman that doesn't even know how to apply heat to food. If you're wanting a man who is actually emulating the Sahaba, what can we say that you should be like the Sahabiyat? So shouldn't you cover? Because if you want a man of ghira, a man who are actually protective and have that protective jealousy over his woman, and well, you have to help me out in a sense also to obey Allah in covering up yourself. Do not be doing this convertible hijabs. Hijab is only in certain places. Beautify it and not following the 6th criteria of al-hijab al-shar'i.
Do we just have to face the reality that this woman that we're looking for doesn't exist anymore? Or do we continue to vet like 200-300 women?
Oh, assalamu alaikum. This is behind the scenes. We're about to go live with my brother, galromaani, straight from Canada, aka Romania, aka what else you got in you? Yeah, mashallah, mashallah. We're about to go live, inshallah, talking about the biggest issues of the Ummah. You know what that is? The issue of, should I say effeminate men?
Masculine women.
Yes, masculine women and effeminate men. And we are joined with none other than the modern Muslim man.
Yes, sir. Bismillah. Oh, look at that. MashaAllah. It's that breakfast that Hussein made. It's kicking in.
There you go,
MashaAllah.
mashallah, alhamdulillah. So we're about to go live, gentlemen and ladies. So let's get into it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome to a special edition of Real Problems, Real Solutions. We are joined today with Hussein Base, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
And with the modern Muslim man, Brother Munir. MashaAllah. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
So today, as always, we're keeping it real, but I think today is extra real. Today is extra real.
Inshallah.
And the problem is, and we had the discussion yesterday, we talked about it. We didn't really look at the points, we just said we're gonna let it be organic. Inshallah. But the issue is marriage. A lot of women are complaining that they cannot get married. A lot of men are complaining they cannot get married. However, today the spin is on the sisters. Brother, you're picking on the sisters all the time. No issues. The spin is that sisters will say that brothers are not successful, they're not religious, they're not good looking, they're not in shape, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So today, I've known you guys for a few years now, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
And I can say that, Allahumma barik, you guys are good looking.
Alhamdulillah.
You guys are religious, very successful, Allahumma barik. All the things that sisters would be asking in the men are in you two guys. However, there's been difficulties in getting married. So here we have two modern Muslim men, proper men, alhamdulillah, who are rijal, and they're looking to get married. Alhamdulillah, one just recently got married, so it's new. But we want to explore the struggle. What's the issue? If you guys are, mashallah, all that, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik.
Alhamdulillah.
However, it's still hard to find a good woman. Why is it hard for a proper, successful, good Muslim man, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to find a good Muslim woman in the world? Because you guys didn't just look in America. We're in California today, but you guys been looking all over the world. Why is it difficult? Bismillah.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. I think when it comes to the subject of marriage and what we're trying to look for, we always see this kind of like double standards. This is what I'm looking for on paper, and then once I believe that, let's say the man check off all the boxes, but then there are even more some, meaning that they will come up with things. It's always what they want, but Sometimes you have to see to what they respond to best. But even when you check all the boxes, there is always this resistance to think they need to have you at the palm of their hand, right? Control, yes. And I think that is something that push brothers out, including myself. You know, I struggled massively with not finding per se what I'm exactly looking for, and I have like these thousands of characteristics that I'm looking in a wife. No, I just want her to obey Allah.
Okay, so what are you looking for? What are you looking for? Let's make it real.
Yeah. So she of course she's on the deen.
Okay.
She obeys Allah and all His commandment and everything that was mentioned in the book. She's following the seerah and the what Prophet ﷺ advised women how to be.
Okay,
She's trying to emulate the Sahabiyat. She's obedience, of course, to me.
Okay.
She needs to be able to serve the home, have children with her. I don't need her to work. Okay. I don't want her to work.
Okay, like 3-4 things now.
Exactly,
okay.
And she needs to be feminine. Of course, takes care of her body. We're in the 21st century, so I think everybody should. If you're demanding someone to be fit and a specimen of a physique, I think you also can do that at home. And honestly, that's where pretty much the list ends.
That's it. Well, that's 5 things, because you spoke a lot about, but that's all in the deen at the beginning.
Yes, in the deen, yes.
So seerah and alhamdulillah, sunnah, Quran, okay, that's deen. And then you said about obedience, which is a trigger word. Okay, that's a problem.
Yes.
But what, then you said about talking about kids and family, and then you talked about
not
work, and feminine.
Feminine, yeah.
Because the beauty and all taking care of yourself, that's under feminine.
That's two should be in one box: femininity and work. For me personally, because I don't want my wife to have worked before or been working or think that she could want to work for a long period of time. Not that I need her money, not looking for someone that will be coming home at the same time as me at late at night and leaving early and then putting a lot of stress on my shoulders, thinking that I have to resolve the issue with her company or whatever, right? But you have the sisters. Well, we can talk about the rebuttals or the talking points in which they bring up to trying to disqualify the characteristics in which I found myself trying to find in a woman. They always try to be like, no, well, what about Sayyidatuna Khadija? Oh, wait, what about the Prophet ﷺ was serving in his home? But we can talk about all that, and this is actually going to be an interesting episode, because I think the experience that myself and brother Munir and brother Jibril has in terms of like really vetting and sort of like you get to master it in a sense. And of course, without actually taking away credit from your course of the vetting masterclass, which I have took as well, it was actually massively eye-opening to exactly how you build upon a successful marriage and how to actually start that at the get-go. And I think the building block for that is the vetting process, because many brothers, she's hot, she looks good, she sway the hips, the colors, the eyeshadow, the cheekbones. Listen, you can get that, and that's actually good, and we are men and we like the image, but you gotta also use your mind and your logic to think how would she play a good role at being a mother? Would she be paying more attention to how long her nails are, or her nose is pokey, or is actually gonna sacrifice and be waking up super early, taking care of the children, where you're actually going out and making the money and trying to make serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bringing rizq, or she's gonna be another challenge for you. I don't need a challenge. And unfortunately, before I pass the talking point to my brother, most of girls are combative today. They have this masculine characteristics, and that's due to the fact that they are working and are being pushed by the parents to go to college and work and study. And be like, oh, brother, you talking about what, you want her jahila? You want her from the caveman? No, the emphasis of our Prophet ﷺ was not for a girl to learn engineering. It was not for her to learn being a lawyer or learning leadership or any stuff like that. It was for her to learn the deen, because
so there's no hadith about then women should be warriors and they should be like leaders, and they should be CEOs, and they should be the fadl of the CEO and the mujahid female, and none of that, right?
No, none of that. And even when you need those positions, it's fard kifaya, meaning that you just need a certain amount of people for that particular job in which you choose, and that's it. Now You have gazillion of these fields that they dive into, and then what do you end with? A woman that doesn't even know how to apply heat to food.
No.
You bring her groceries and she's like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's probably more recipes, macaroni.
I detect a little bit of frustration in the way you talk. Why?
Because honestly, because I vetted over 300, 250 girls, and they all actually carbon copy of one another, and it was very difficult to get sense and just reconnect to the deen. I didn't even pass to the point of like, hey, I don't want you to work. Hey, I don't. It's just the deen they have combative with. Hijab was one of the things that I had an issue with. If you wanting a man who's actually emulating the Sahaba, what can we say that you should be like the Sahabiyat? So shouldn't you cover? Because if you want a man of ghira, a man who are actually protective and have that protective jealousy over his woman and over his family, daughter, well, you have to help me out in a sense also to obey Allah in covering up yourself. Do not be doing this convertible hijabs. Do not be this hijab is only in certain places and you show and you beautify it and not following the 6th criteria of al-hijab al-shar'i. This is why it's actually frustrating, but I don't want the audience to see it as frustration that I'm desperate or I am really angry. I'm not angry.
But a lot of men are frustrated.
Exactly.
And I think, again, why we emphasize in this episode that we're not talking about the guy who's sitting in his basement, his mother's basement, and playing PlayStation. We're talking about people who have businesses who are very successful. We both have amazing following on Instagram, doing a lot of work for the Ummah. You're focusing on a specific thing that many people are not focusing on. We're talking here about with two successful brothers, Allahumma barik. We have to say, and you should say Allahumma barik. And there's frustration in the Ummah with the quality. Now we know, because you guys are working on men. You're not working on women.
No.
You guys are mostly working on men. And we are all working on men, and we acknowledge that men are weak.
Correct.
You know, men acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some guys who don't.
Yeah.
But the sisters are not realizing that they have to put in work that is based on the Quran. So here, just to interject, and when Allah SWT mentioned in the Quran the example of only two women, okay, the wife of Fir'aun and Maryam, two women. And if women want to understand why, a lot of, how many men does he mention in the Quran? Allahumma barik, right?
Yeah.
But women, only two. There's a reason for that. Okay, Allah says, ضَرَبَ اللَّهُ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, right? He says that he gives an example, those who believe, امرأة فرعون, and then ومريم ابنة عمران التي أحسنت فرجها. Then he explains why. Women should be like, wait a second, then I need to go there and see how these women, if Allah is pleased with these women, that's what I have to be with. But anyway, I picked up 5 things from you.
Yes.
Plus frustration. Plus that you vetted 250 to almost 300
Yes, and,
women. That's insane. Like you're not like exaggerating right now.
No, I'm not exaggerating, and I'm completely honest, and I don't want to like make it sound like, oh my God, that's a huge number, and he was actually playing spinning plates, or like this guy has the red pill ideology. No, none of that. I'm absolutely straightforward with the sister, and I know exactly how I open up the topic of marriage, and I meet her wali, and I talk to him, and then after that, it falls apart. Or it doesn't, there is a characteristic that is completely non-Islamic because it's been adapted whether through liberalism, feminism, or secularism, and she's tried to inject it. And the bad thing about it too, that actually flips my front head to my back end, is that they try to justify it with the deen and twist the hadith. That's the biggest problem for me. And I'm just like, oh, okay, great. Then you're just twisting. So the Imma al-Arba, they did not really know the translation.
Right. So let me play the devil's advocate. The devil's advocate. So they'll say that, yeah, but you guys are using the deen to push your misogynistic ideas and everything is about men and things are unfair. And I've even seen now where women are attacking the 4 imams, saying that they're misogynist, saying that they're nothing to do with Islam and with the Quran and the Sunnah. How do we verify our statements versus their statements?
I think one of these prospectively rebuttals, or I would like to call them malicious statements, because they are not coming from a place of understanding. they're coming from a place of shaming tactics. They are two different things. When you come from a place of shaming tactics, you have already have a predisposition to not accept whatever outcome will be, whether that's actually opposition to what you just stated, or if it's actually will be aligned with your statement, you'll be like, yeah, I told you so, you're a dummy. No, it's not like that. And I think Islam is, as I said before, is complete submission to the orders of Allah and following the seerah and the
Example of Prophet
our Prophet ﷺ. So when you're trying to with your limited mind and non-understanding complete seerah, the complete hadith, the Quran, you didn't read tafsir, you didn't invest heavily. And when I say invest heavily, I'm not talking about you scrolling up and seeing these new milkshakes talking about what's actually appealing to the feminine. I'm talking about literally reading books and accepting everything. Because we have to make a distinction. Because we have a lot of brothers who are trying to virtue signal, like, look at me, I'm team woman. No, Islam is not team woman and it's not team man. It's team humanity to do the things that will get you successful in this dunya and the hereafter.
Okay.
So when women, I would say this, the woman that had rebelled this, I stay away from. Because it's not my
red
job
flag.
to, it's a red flag. It's not my job to educate her. She should have got that education from her father or from her brother or from extended family, a masculine man, that if he existed in the family, correct? And then if she had tried, let's say hypothetically, a way that did not work, she knows that, okay, let's see what happened in the feminist movement from the 1970s until now. Well, they are most likely unmarried, they are depressed, they are using the highest percentage of medication to manage their serotonin release because they are depressed. They're unfulfilling. Cat food and dog food are in the rise, so that's the best way to invest now. Why? Because we have single women who are trying to cope with the mechanism of her not being in her own proclivity and aligning with femininity because she needs a man. And this is why Hawa was a gift to Adam. And this is, we have to come to understanding Islam is not misogynist. And the second that thought comes in your mind and you say it's not fair, the minute that I would personally say you're trying to step away from the fold of Islam and you're just following the footsteps of shaitan, you're gonna deviate and you start dating non-Muslim because you're gonna find this is fun, it's easy, and what it takes a movie ticket and a meal, and that's pretty much it. But halal now is even difficult. You know, we're talking about characteristics, but we can expand to the topic of mahr. And we see this outrageous videos from non-covered sisters, regardless what brothers might say. Oh, no, she has hijab, but she's beautified, she's completely tied, you can see the shape, she's out and about. Haya is actually a part of hijab. She cannot be seen, she cannot be heard. That is things that women had to actually study. As you said, we keep brothers accountable. But sisters are above criticism, even in masajid. When was the last time you went to khutbah in Jumu'ah and the sheikh was like, women, I want you to listen up. And men, I want you to listen up because you need to advise your women to do this and this. What are the hijab shari? What's the best way to do this? What's the best? Women actually need more education than men today. Right. Because you might find a good man, but he's average Abdullah. Right. And he probably working and he's probably as same as our grandfather and in terms of like wealth, in terms of like, let's say his ability to produce. But then to get 10x less of a, like my grandmother, I have to be 100x of my grandfather was. What an imbalance. You have to be tall, you have to be handsome, you have to be intellectually stimulated, you have to be on the deen, pray fajr, you have to have money, you have to have status. Like, okay, we checked all the boxes. Okay. Then you come to a sister, she tells you like, I don't want to cover because it's not in my heart. I need to have qana'ah, I have to have conviction. Really? The woman has to do the work too, you know, not just the man. They have to understand that we need the characteristics of the Sahabiyat in them, or at least strive. Perfection is to Allah. We're not perfect. But at least try, and try not to rebuttal with the deen, because the more you becoming not accepting of the deen, and I think that's where the fundamental, which is aqidah, is corrupted. And if aqidah is corrupted, you're just like a seaweed in the ocean. One wave takes you this way, and the other one takes you the other way. And
All right.
If we take a break from the podcast really quick, if you're intrigued or triggered, both of them are actually great. And let me tell you why. One thing that I want you really to understand that through this conversation, what we're peeling off is the truth. And as you come to discover the truth, and this is not my truth, this is the truth based on the Quran and the Sunnah. And one of the things that I will encourage you is to dive into the products of my brother Jibril Romani, or Gabriel Romani as he knows. I like to call him Jibril because he's named after the angel, Jibril. He has the Muslim Alpha main course. That is a great content for you to digest and understand the path towards masculinity based on the Quran and the Sunnah. It's nothing like it. I took it myself and I'm vouching for it. And I don't just adapt anything out there. I'm extremely meticulous about the information I consume, and hopefully you will get something out of it. We're coming to 2024 and change is around the corner, even including myself and anyone you know, because a man or a woman that are not progressing in life, they are dead. A heartbeat is almost up and down. There is nothing as such as flat. If it's flat, it's dead. So go ahead, do yourself a favor. There are all the links in the description. Check them out and let me know what you think. Also, we will be doing these retreats from time on another, and we go big. We do things together that most men do not do. We get together, we train, we eat well, we discuss issues, and we help the Ummah in the best way we can be. Now, you can join us, but in order for you to do that, you have to be inside one of his programs. And if you are inside, we will announce in later dates what the time we're gonna get these retreats or these gatherings. Meanwhile, smash the like button and make sure that you are sending this video to other friends, family, sisters, brothers, for them to benefit as well. Let's go back into it.
Hussein, Jazakallah khair.
وإياك إن شاء الله. You go.
Brother Munir, first of all, Jazakallah khair.
وإياك.
So you recently got married.
Alhamdulillah.
يعني بارك الله لكما وبارك عليكم وجمع بك خير إن شاء الله. How many years did you spend looking for a wife? Now you've been, mashallah, on a certain level for the past few years. You've been working hard on yourself. Obviously, there's probably a lot you want to say on what Hussein has said as well, but let's start with, you've been looking for a wife for a while. What were the main challenges? What do you see with the sisters? You've kind of covered all those points that sisters are looking for, and there's a long list. I think you've covered many of them. You were only looking for 5 things, and we'll get back to that in a second as to what you're looking at.
Sounds good.
But yeah, what were your difficulties? What was it hard? Like, you would think that, I think if you were in like the non-Muslim realm, you'd get snatched in a second, right? So why is it so hard with Muslim women?
Well, that is a multifaceted question. So I would say, so I was looking for I was looking seriously for, I'd say, about 2 years. And the first time I was ever like engaged was actually about 8 to 10 years ago. But that didn't work out for various reasons. And like you said, I went on a journey of working on myself, alhamdulillah. And that's the reason why Allah makes things not happen at certain points, because sometimes we're not ready. And the best way we can get ready, by the way, just to give you the very quick answer, because ultimately my intention here is to please Allah by helping the people, right? The number one thing that any man or woman can do to fix the singles epidemic is just follow the Quran and Sunnah to the T and don't question anything. Forget about red pill, forget about feminism, forget about all this corruption. It's, the death of everybody. And the authentic Quran and Sunnah, not just the liberalized interpretation or whatever, but the proper one. And then find a partner of the opposite sex who does that as well, and that's it. It handles almost everything for you. So I only had 3 points of criteria, but these points of criteria are multifaceted. Number 1, dial in with the deen. Number 2, good looking, right? That's important, is that, there's a physical chemistry. And within that, of course, is like, being into fitness, like at least being into fitness. You don't have to be in elite shape to start, because I'm a fitness professional, so I can fix that as long as you're just into fitness.
That's it.
And then the third one is emotional maturity, which I think falls under the category of following the deen properly. But you can expand upon it further by, working on yourself, working on your communication, working on your own self-awareness and your own management of your emotions, as well as how you express your emotions. And I think that's important in any relationship, is that people know how to express and manage their emotions in a positive way. But unfortunately, I would say all 3 of those points get severely compromised in the modern Muslim woman, because the modern Muslim woman gets corrupted by So from the deen aspect, she gets corrupted by feminism, and my wife and I both agree on this, that feminism corrupts the woman. So alhamdulillah, it was great to find a woman who actually believes that, because there are so few women who do. Because once a woman realizes that she needs to reject feminism and embrace the Quran and Sunnah to the fullest, that fixes a lot of these problems that unfortunately, I'm not judging any of the sisters, because, of course, I know it's hard when that's what you were brought up in, but you have to see the reality in front of you, which is that, to put it bluntly, these kuffar don't know how the human body and brain works. They didn't create us. Who created us is Allah. So if I have a car, let's say I have a Lamborghini, which I don't, but inshallah, hopefully one day, but let's say I have a Lamborghini and I go to some person who just drove a Lamborghini once and maybe they crashed it. Let's say you listen to all these divorced people who try to give you a marriage advice, like all these chronic divorcees.
Mia Khalifa.
That's
the girls that they're taking advice from.
I know, she's been very busy on TikTok and Instagram.
There's a lot of these people who are just like, and nothing against people who are divorced, right? It's something that people go through, but unless somebody has a healthy, happy marriage, you shouldn't take advice from them, right? Yeah. So let's say, should I take Lamborghini advice from the manufacturer, or should I take it from somebody who crashed a Lamborghini? Manufacturer. It's a no-brainer. So why would you listen to all these divorced feminists who, have like 3 baby daddies and all that other stuff, and who maybe some who they weren't even married to, because these are kuffar, these are not Muslims who you're listening to, for your advice, when you can follow the Quran and Sunnah from the one who created
But they'll say something like the divorced Muslimah coaches. No, I'm good. I have this.
Oh yeah.
They'll say something like, yeah, but we have experienced these problems, so we do not want the girls to make the same mistakes we've done. We've fallen for these guys, and now we're going to teach you how not to make the mistakes.
Yes. So think about it this way. If I was obese, if I was 300 pounds and I said, hey, I'm going to give you fitness advice because I know how you end up being 300 pounds obese, so I'll teach you how to avoid these mistakes. But I still haven't solved the results of those mistakes. So I need to first become 300 pounds and then successfully lose that weight and keep it off for a significant period of time before I'm qualified to give you the advice and how to avoid the pitfalls that got me obese in the first place, and how to fix the solution, because I might still have some misconceptions. I might think that what made me obese was just stress, but I failed to account the 5,000 calories of Twinkies I was eating a day. Or maybe I think it's only the Twinkies, but I failed to account for the stress because I still haven't figured out how to fix both the stress and the Twinkies. So just because I've experienced the problem doesn't mean I understand the solution. In fact, I could give you super misguided advice and say, hey, I'm still 300 pounds, I'm still figuring it out, but just try to be less stressed and it'll fix it. Meanwhile, you're still eating 5,000 calories of Twinkies and you're still having the problem. So this is a perfect analogy, right? Or like, let's say that I go to a guy in prison and I say, hey, how do you get out of prison? He says, well, I can tell you how to not get into prison. Don't murder anybody, but he didn't tell me not to. I don't know. I'm thinking of analogies here. You get the idea. Don't listen to somebody who still has the problem. And again, may Allah help all the people who solve the problem. May Allah help all the obese people, all the divorced people, all the people in prison to get out of that situation. And then once they fix it, then may Allah help them to help others. But until that person has successfully been married for a significant length of time, after having been divorced, and may Allah help all of them, full compassion, may Allah help all of them abundantly and everything, right? Just so that none of these divorced people come back and be like, you're a guy's divorced people. No, I want you to succeed, which is why I'm telling you, don't listen to other divorced people, but instead listen to people who have successfully been married, or just listen to the one who created you, right? Like, you can listen to somebody who knows how to fix Lamborghinis, you can listen to the Lamborghini manufacturer themselves. And so we have Allah himself who gave us the Quran and Sunnah. So that's point number one. Unfortunately, feminism seems to also negatively impact women looking good and women also having emotional maturity, because there's a lot of this obesity acceptance movement and all that stuff that, oh, a man should still love you even if you're 300 pounds.
No fat shaming.
There are men who are into that, but most men do want a woman who's fit and in shape. Especially if you want a man who's fit and in shape, you need to be fit and in shape yourself, right? And of course, every man has a different type as far as like what natural good looks they find good looking, but again, like, if you want somebody who's fit, he's probably going to want somebody who's also fit. And of course, emotional maturity, that goes across the board for both brothers and sisters. Both brothers and sisters have this problem. We're talking about the sisters today, but I advise the brothers as well to fix their emotional maturity as well. But I think feminism sometimes teaches women that they should be an entitled crybaby and that the man should just figure out how to handle all their emotions. It's okay that women are more emotional than men, but that doesn't take the accountability off a woman to learn how to express her emotions better. And so alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful that I was able to find somebody who has worked on herself, and alhamdulillah was in a good position where she was somebody who I could marry, alhamdulillah. And may Allah help all the brothers and sisters to reach that point and make this podcast beneficial. So that's my 3-point checklist, alhamdulillah.
That's pretty good.
And I'll add one more thing. There's and this is advice for both brothers and sisters. I know there's a lot of quantity out there, but the quality is the thing that's lacking. So if we can all fix ourselves, then that quantity will become quality, and then inshallah, I think we're all gonna do well. But it starts by fixing our deen, and that's 99% of what we need to do, and then the rest of it is 1%, very easy, and it follows suit.
100%.
But sisters,
who's more frustrated, me or him?
Oh, I'm passionate. I've been thinking about this.
You're passionate.
I've been thinking about this for
He's
5 years.
frustrated.
I've been thinking, how do I solve the Muslim single epidemic? I remember in 2018.
but that's the good thing.
In
because
2018, I thought to myself, how could I fix the Muslim singles epidemic? Because I was a fitness coach. I mean, I'm still a fitness coach, but like, I was thinking, okay, beyond fitness, how could this fitness impact others? If I fix the men's fitness, will it fix the obesity? Will it fix the obesity epidemic, inshallah, but it won't necessarily fix the singles epidemic. So I've been thinking about the singles epidemic for a long time, and I'm passionate about it because once you get married, it solves a lot of the problem.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so you may still have temptations, but at least you have a halal outlet for these things, because I have men message me all the time asking, like, you know, for help with certain addictions that one is prone to when you're single. Or I know a lot of men who unfortunately have fallen into zina and all that stuff and struggle to lower their gaze. And once you get married and you have a halal outlet for that, you actually get good deeds for, it actually fixes a lot of these things, especially if you have a very high libido, then, you know, inshallah, it really helps a lot. So alhamdulillah.
Yeah, you build the body, then you ask yourself, what are you going to do with it? And that's exactly, you get married and you go to war, inshallah.
all right. Let's go back to the issue of what high value men are looking for in a woman.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned 5 things. Let's review again. Deen. Okay, and that's the same that you have.
Yes,
so
number
deen.
one always.
Keep this in the middle just for both of you.
And that's sunnah as well. The Prophet ﷺ advised us to look for deen first.
Yeah.
And I think authentically any man that's on deen is going to look for deen first.
Okay, so deen, that's you had in together. You talked about Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Obedience.
Obedience, yes.
Sorry, beauty. Both of you had beauty.
yes.
So these two are the same.
So deen, obedience
Yeah.
is within deen, right? And
Yeah.
I just try to extend on it because a
Right.
lot of men won't say like
I
deen.
think upon
Deen-
analysis, it will
yes.
come under the same
Yes,
category.
yeah.
Okay, then we talked about, beauty, you guys mentioned that. You talked about emotional intelligence and emotional expression, but that's in line with femininity.
Correct.
Right, we can say
Yes.
that it's really feminine for a woman when she knows how to be emotional and how to emotionally manage her feelings and express themselves and be mature emotionally. So technically, I would say between the two of you have 3 or 4 things.
Yes.
Obviously, you want a woman who's not working.
Yeah,
right?
not
That's what you
working,
mentioned
and the younger in the spectrum of age.
Okay, let's. That's one thing I wanted to. Yeah, So we have 4 things.
Yes.
Okay, very clear. Women have quite a long list. I'm off the top of my head at least 10, 15, maybe 20 things.
Okay.
All right. So the question is now, specifically, if you were to pick a woman, it's hard to find. Like, what is that woman? So you said a criteria, but does she have to be young? Is it okay if she's older? Sisters will be like, what if I'm divorced? What if I've already had experiences? What if I am have a child? What if I have 2 children? What if I've had some issues before? I committed zina. What if I'm 30, 35? What if I am from America? What if why not? What would you choose? Is there, I mean, when we look at the deen here,
Yes.
you find the Prophet ﷺ, because I know sisters will throw the rebuttals.
Yeah.
The Prophet ﷺ married virgin, non-virgin. The Prophet ﷺ married younger, older.
Yeah.
We know that.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're talking here about personal preference
Yes.
of 2 high-value men that women in general would snap. They'll be like, okay, we want them, right? Like, okay, they have everything we are looking for. So why your preferences, and what are your preferences?
To really put light onto my preference and why is that, I think also the Prophet ﷺ encouraged and he favored almost the bikr than the thayyib, meaning that the girl that she's younger, she's a virgin, then actually the woman that she has been married already and been in maybe divorced, or whether she is a widow. And there was a hadith about this when Jabir came to him, radiallahu anhu, he came to him and he said, oh, Messenger of Allah, I have gotten married. And he said, did you get married to bikr or thayyib? Was she a virgin and young, or was she a divorcee and later in age? And he said, thayyib. He said, why didn't you take a bikr so you can play with her and you can pretty much have...
Mold her.
Yes, mold her and have fun, right? And...
But that's so misogynistic, bro.
Exactly.
Right? It's amazing how, like, interpreting the hadith, people would say, because the word play is used.
Yes.
Right? And
تلعب.
yeah, a lot of people will be like, no, what is that? That's so... But it is quite important, because in marriage, like that's a big part.
Correct.
And I love the time when feminists and people want to boost or boast their, the female team.
Yes.
Like, well, the Prophet was he used to play with Aisha, he used to race with her.
Why don't you play with me? But then it comes to the other spectrum.
When it comes to the other side,
I told you, double standards. That's what I was talking about.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk. Okay, so you want, and indeed, I think even to the hadith, he said that. But Ja'bar ibn Abdullah, he explained that he has sisters who need to be taken care of.
Yes.
So that was, he kind of accepted that. The Prophet ﷺ did accept that in the end. So there was a context that he did say that it's better to, so one doesn't invalidate the other one.
Yes,
like
correct.
these two, it doesn't. So yes, still you should take a virgin who can play with. And obviously the concept of polygyny will open up both, both doors are available for someone. And that's how actually all Sahabas pretty much without exception were polygynous. And it can solve so many problems. But that's, we'll talk about that a bit later. But indeed, there seems to be an emphasis on virginity. And this is where women are going to push back and be like, that's not fair. That's a double standard. You guys are not like that. Well, we want a virgin man. You guys are always having double standards, contradictory. You want this perfect woman who's religious. Well, three things really. I mean, we kind of agreed upon, because they'll be like, who's, they start counting on the fingers, but they didn't mention. It's just three. Who's religious? I think guys, we want a religious woman who's hot, who's pretty.
Yes.
And they'd be like, you can't have both, right? They'll be like, you guys want a religious woman, but then you want her to be like all this and that. And why the whole contradiction? Like, do you want a religious woman who's hot, or do you want a hot woman who's religious, or?
It's like, why are you giving me ultimatum? Why cannot they be all in the same basket?
There's no either or.
There's no either or.
And here's the thing, is that Allah is capable of all things, right?
Yeah.
So really, I think it's maybe to some degree an issue in Iman or Aqidah if somebody doesn't believe that Allah is capable of creating something.
No, he is, but the girls say, and again, I'm going back on based on what they say to me. Right. They always.
And I'm telling them, if you have Iman, believe that all three are possible. Believe that you're capable of that. If you're a woman who's struggling with Deen,
I don't think they have a problem with that.
They
have a problem with you demanding
yes,
that. They're saying
because a man in today's time cannot and should not. That's what they say, because it's a female first social order, and also it's a gynocentric society. They believe that the man should adhere to the woman, put her in a pedestal, and he should obey the lady. That's pretty much what they say.
I think a man has the right to demand whatever level he's at. If he's a guy who's of lower means himself, and maybe he's in a position in his life where maybe he's not all that, hey, you know what? You can meet somebody at your level. I think that's fair and reasonable. But if a man is like top value, worked on himself, grinded a very, very long time, very, very hard, by the permission of Allah, reached a high level of success, then he has every right to demand a woman who's at his level. But
you know what? I'm not even actually demanding that myself. I went to the seerah. I saw the Prophet ﷺ said you should get the bikr. You should see someone who actually obeying Allah, because that's the best progeny you will ever have. Okay, this is how I'm gonna successful life. And if I die, there is only three things that's gonna left behind me: sadaqah jariyah, ilmun yuntafa'u bih, or waladun salih yad'u lak. It's a progeny that's gonna. Okay, cool. I want that. But you cannot have it if a sister is not on deen, if she's disobedient to you, if she's not taking care of herself, and she's always debating you about simple things.
Okay, so let's look at things that you value and they value.
Yeah.
Are they the same? Like, because she'll say, well, you guys want a virgin girl and this, but you guys are not. You guys have a past and this and that.
Okay.
Which indeed is true. A lot of men, in general, coming from a counselor background, a lot of men have slipped back in the past and so on. And women know that, I think, and they're kind of saying, why are you guys judging us? Why can't you accept that, okay, we've made tawbah, we are now in 25, 30, and here we are, wanting to start our lives, be good Muslim sisters. Why are you so strict in your requirements, and why is it a double standard? Why can't you just forgive me? If I had a past, don't ask me about my past. Maybe I had a past, maybe not. On the night of marriage, don't ask me why. It's easy or whatever, or there's whatever. You know what I mean?
I think I get the question, and I think I'm gonna go about this in so many different routes, and I think we're gonna land on one point that, of course, the woman has to maintain her chastity And this is why in the Quran only 2 women were risen to a highest status, and they were mentioned in the Quran, right? Sayyidina Maryam, Sayyidina Asiya. The second thing, a man and a woman are different, and once you actually understand that and you digest it and you let it be the default, then you're gonna have peace with what I'm about to say. If you're gonna tell me a man and a woman are the same, indeed they are in the eyes of Allah from good deeds
Halal,
and bad
haram,
deeds.
because zina is haram for men and women.
Correct. But if you're gonna tell me what affect a man, it will affect the woman the same, I'll disagree with you. Scars on a man from a war is looked upon. Scars on a woman from atrocious relationships and being promiscuous is looked down upon. This is not me. This is just the inclination of man, and this is what the deen has said. Now, if you grab a man and you put him through adversity and you try to challenge his capability, he only has one way to go, which is up. He needs to stand to the occasion. Unfortunately, that's not the case in today's society.
Right.
We have men who's crying babies, men who are mama's boy, cannot even amount. They are disguised as men. They are not men. They're disguised as men. But then you shield adversity from him and challenges, and you get a horrible version of a woman. He's effeminate, he is not really protective, he's untrustworthy. And women can pick on that. Women pick on...
They don't find it attractive.
Yes, because women are emotional and they pick on the frequency of an emotion that is really important in men, which is, it's not how much he loves them, it's not how confident and how he looks. Authenticity. That's what women pick on. When a man say what he means and does what he says, that's the man that a woman will be like, he's the man, he can protect, he's physically capable, he can produce, he has resources, and he kept his word. And I'm not gonna challenge him, I'm not gonna keep throwing what we call the test, right? The shit test, whatever. They don't gonna throw that your way. But what affects a woman and affects a man are different. Even Shaykh ibn Uthaymin, when he talked about the hadith that I just mentioned about the bikr, he said the reason why the bikr would be much better than the thayyib in a certain situation. Of course, if a man has kids, he probably would be better served with thayyib because she's gonna take care of the kids. She is responsible a little bit more. She's mature. But when you have a younger one, he talks actually about bondage. The way that a woman bond with a man. Shaykh ibn Uthaymin, he talked about that. But then we have this today's study saying that women are like the host and their bodies will adapt to the man's DNA. Meaning that when a man, even exchange of saliva, even exchange of looks and eyes and even pheromones, a woman will be adaptive because she's a host. So she prepares her body, which adapts to the man's DNA, to the man's, because a baby is an external organism that's actually growing within her, and if it doesn't align with her DNA, guess what? We get cancer. Am I right? That's what it is. So the body has to adapt. And imagine the level of, let's say, acidity and the pH level that's being changed in the DNA. And she went through first guy, second guy, third guy, fourth guy. See what I'm saying? And then also scientifically, if we talk about polygyny or bring it to science, in science, when you have one man and you have 4 women, right? And I'm not trying to extend it beyond that because I believe in what Islam has prescribed is perfect because it comes from the Creator. He knows our affairs better than what do we think is. So if you have 4 women and 1 man, you would never get STDs. But if you have 1 woman and just 2 men, you actually will be getting STDs because why? It's one host, right? So this is why a woman will be attached. Also, we have the phenomenon that they call it alpha widows. The last thing that you want is your woman to have all the experience in life that you are about to offer her, but she's just jaded to them because you already been to those restaurants, you already been to that nice, island. You took her because she's, you're Muslim. You don't want your woman to be looked at. You take her to an island, to a beach that no one is on, and you rented it for the weekend. Hypothetically, brothers, that's not the pressure I'm putting on. Sisters do not demand that. But you have those experiences, and we take pride in our women looking up to us 100%. Because that's basically the respect that we want. And 100%. For us, respect is the prerequisite of love. We don't value love because women say like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But then she can tell you I love you, but she's disrespecting
she tells
you.
I love you to her friends and everyone.
Exactly. She's posting her online. She's used it 1,000 times a day. And then what are you going to do with that? Respect is what we seek as men. And if you are disrespectful, if you're nagging, if you are disqualifying us, if you're not coming to us for matters, for opinions. This is why the deen told the women to ask your husband about who you're going to invite to your home. It's not out of nothing. Everything is designed for the woman to maintain her femininity, and the man is the qawwam, and he's the masculine essence, and men focus on their mission, women focus on the relationship. With femininity is the focus of flow of love. You focus on love, nurturing the relationship, making sure that every toxic element that's gonna come in the way of your husband in terms of like nagging, or you recharge him. Then he is about just focusing on the mission. Do not make your husband or the potential suitor that he's coming to you to be focused on you, because then he's gonna put you at a pedestal, and women lose respect for men, that they put them on a pedestal. And this is why we have the pandemic of simps, and that's actually among Muslims and among non-Muslims. We have men paying money, given atrocious amount of attention in value. Like, the attention of a man is the most valuable currency, and when you give it for nothing, you mean that you have no respect for yourself, and you just throw in yourself out there. And guys, choose a woman that chooses you. That's the best pretty much way you can. Don't listen to these players and game artists, pickup artists. Yeah, this is the way how you come off objections. Why do you want to be with a girl and you keep just like going in circles, jumping hoops, and telling you like, yeah, the mahr today is 5K, the next day is 10K, then later she adds more. Oh, let's do a contract. You cannot get a second wife or the third wife. And if you ever thought about it for any reason, even though I don't cook, I don't clean, I just, whatever, she's following that Cardi B song, right? Then you'd be like, okay, so what's the point of the marriage here? You're actually going to be a burden on my back. I thought we are building this together. وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Right? I thought you're going to be my sakina. I'm coming here. I swear, I had some men sometimes, they're not Muslims, but there are some Muslims. He's like, I hate the time that I take off from work. I rather say I got hit by a car and I'm actually delayed to come home until you guys sleep. Why?
Allah.
Because he doesn't want to talk to his wife. You have to be looking forward to coming home.
Man.
She's by the door. She greets you. She hugs you. You play with her. You brought her stuff. Maybe you did not, because you are, the prize guys. All right. So that's pretty much it. But if you go back to the original question, that the woman is affected differently than the man. A woman that is being scarred is actually very difficult to heal, and most likely would never heal, because she always gonna have the trauma, especially if she been with a guy who absolutely wrecked her world, and then he just didn't want to commit. And then you will have a girl that she will have kids with you, and she's just gonna repeat the cycle of trying to look for him or look for someone that meets the criteria. Because women, as I said, focus on emotion, the flow of love. She needs that emotion, so she is in the hunt for it, the same as a man. He's looking for the next mission, and our mission is وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We worship Allah, but we do it in a way that you can be a trainer, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be doing da'wah, you can helping reviving the masculine essence and core, and based on Islam and Quran and Sunnah, and that's your mission in every day. And this is the distinctive between men and women. When a woman and a woman meets, they're never gonna say, what do you do? No, how many kids? Are you married? Are you this? Because they focus on the flow of dynamic of relationship. But a man and a man, hey, how are you doing? I'm a CEO at this company and this company. We just generated $500 million last year. We're looking at, you see what I'm saying? We're all about what do we do, and you see what I'm saying? This is distinctive. And a man and a woman, as I said to the sisters and the brothers, especially the brothers too. I see some brothers are like, I'm team woman, It's like, shut up, man. We know deep down you're trying to virtue signaling the fact that to be pick me guy. You're not, because she's gonna pick you, but sooner or later she's gonna get tired of you, because you're not giving her what she responds best to. You're just giving her what she's saying she likes. What women like and say they like, they respond different to. So, inshallah, that answered the question.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Brother Munir, obviously you guys are not the same person. You guys are different, distinct, both two valued men, mashallah, who are, obviously you just got married. You're still looking for marriage.
Yes, I'm in the
frustration,
process,
passion, which is good. They're healthy.
I am frustrated. Every morning I'm frustrated. How can I make more money? How can I be stronger? How can I stay on the deen? That's what it is. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Personally, what are you looking for? What are your personal characteristics that you'd be looking for in a wife? I know you want a hot woman. Everyone wants a hot woman. It's all good. I think women know that because women will say stuff, funny stuff, this is my 2 cents on this point.
Yeah.
But women will say stuff like, I do it for myself, you know, I look good for myself. And there's an element of truth to that. Because there is a high level of
Hubristic.
narcissism within women.
Yes.
The amount they spend in the mirror.
Yes.
They're very autosexual.
Yes.
They like to look at themselves. They get turned on by themselves if they look good. And they love to validate or get validation. The amount of selfies, the whole posting yourself online, that's all part of it. But so no doubt they like to look good for themselves, but they also, of course, like to look good. And they know that in those good looks, there's value.
Yes.
They know that there's value, and that's why they flaunt it. Everywhere, whether social media or outside, women in general, they want to show their assets. And I know people are going to like, oh, what is this? How can you objectify? We don't objectify women the way they objectify themselves.
Absolutely.
We objectify women in a realistic way because men care about aesthetics of women and
Correct.
females. One of the top priorities.
Yep.
Not the number one, shouldn't be,
Yes.
but actually it is.
Yes.
It shouldn't be by
Yes.
dean, it should
Yes.
be dean first, but in general, most men will put looks above everything else. So they flaunt that, all right? But so we all want a beautiful woman, every man. There's no such man, but I want an ugly woman, right? There's no such thing, right? But a woman will pick a not so good looking guy. He has to have, okay, aesthetically speaking, yeah, they like a guy who's handsome. But
Yes.
a lot of them will forfeit that
Yeah.
for character, charisma, money, status. Okay, it's not number one for them. That's what I see. But personally, what do you feel are like the most important thing for high value men like yourself today? What did you look for into a woman? And did age matter? Did virginity matter? Did deen matter? Obviously should. What exactly was it?
Deen, respect, alignment, emotional maturity. So, and I'll talk about like age and a number of other things as well. So I think like if you're a high value man, you're on a mission, you're doing things, and you have to be with somebody who's aligned with you, right? If you're with somebody who's dramatic, who wants to play games all the time, who can't communicate in a mature way, who's always throwing drama and hissy fits and whatnot, it's going to take away from your mission, and that's just unacceptable. It's okay if a woman has needs, of course, but she needs to be tactful and intelligent in how she expresses those needs and how she gets those needs met. They need to have chemistry to where he naturally is able to fill her needs by the natural way that he displays affection. And also she needs to be very conscious of fulfilling his needs, especially a lot of high value guys, like a guy with a business. Businessmen are not 100% transactional, but everybody wants to get an ROI. So you also need to think of yourself as an asset. I think a lot of people, both men and women, are more focused on what they want to get, but not focused on what they have to offer or give. They think that they should just be loved by default.
But that's what I'm saying. So women would say right now,
Yes.
but where's the love?
Yeah, and the love comes from, just like how you wouldn't love a man who can't provide for you as far as financial means, so where you have to work, he can't provide for you as far
So
as
do women not love someone who cannot provide for them?
I don't think so.
Not for
And then
too long.
and same thing if you can't provide.
So maybe temporarily they do, but
perhaps.
once it kicks in, look, you cannot take care of me.
You can have unconditional love for a child, but like if you're choosing to marry somebody and invest time, energy, and money to somebody, you need to get an ROI. So think about what would a high value man want? Well, a high value man wants to come home, the house is clean, there's nice food cooked, he gets love, he gets affection in the way that he wants it, and he gets intimacy. And he doesn't want to come home to nag, messy house, excuses, no food, etc. And he doesn't want to come home to a woman who's asking for more than she's giving, because then he feels that he's not being valued, that he's not being respected. Or to a woman who's just, it's okay to want nice things, but a woman who's overly materialistic, who wants to waste all his money and doesn't appreciate his money, that's also absolutely unacceptable. And no man's going to want that. But ironically, when you show a man love, he's going to reciprocate that love back by buying you nice things when he has the means to do so. So ironically, the way that you get is by giving, not by demanding. And so it's okay to have needs, but the way that you get those needs met is by fulfilling the needs of the other person. And again, finding somebody who you authentically have that chemistry with, where the natural way that you display affection is the natural way that person wants to receive affection. I think that's very important. Now, as far as age and everything goes, so the Prophet ﷺ would marry women who were older than him and younger than him. His first wife was older than him by a lot. He was 25 and she was 40. And so this was a wise move on his part, and of course it was a qadr of Allah, like it always is, but like it was wise because as he went about his mission, she supported him emotionally, financially, in a lot of ways. Now that doesn't mean that if you're a younger man who marries an older woman that she has to provide for you financially, because Allah told us that the man must provide financially for the woman. However, it was a good strategic move in his part, so I think it does make sense for a man on a mission if he is okay with the fact that she has a past marriage and adopting children to marry a woman who's older if she is right for him in that she aligns with his mission and that she's going to be supportive. So let's say, so there's two types of high value men. There's a high value man who's like, hey, I must have a young virgin because we're going to produce a bunch of kids together and I need to be able to mold her, etc. And that's fine. There's also the type of high value man who says, hey, I'm on a mission. I need a woman who's emotionally mature enough to support me on that mission and who's not young and needy and needs all this validation and time, etc. And of course, every woman needs time and affection and all that. But like, if there's a woman who can't be away from you for 2 hours, you're not gonna be able to get your work done. And likewise, but men do like to feel needed. Like, you know, obviously while I'm working and my wife texts me, I love when, you know, I get those texts because it makes me feel that she misses me and I love that feeling. But I also love the fact that she gives me my space and isn't demanding of my time if I need to just work for like 5 days straight, you know what I mean? So alhamdulillah for that. And I think that's important. You gotta find what works for you. You know, at the same time though, I like to see my wife, you know, on a frequent basis. So it's not like I'm always going to spend 5 days in a row working. It just happens sometimes. But I obviously see her as much as I can. But, you know, alhamdulillah, it works out. So it just depends. And so likewise, we talked a little bit about polygyny. I think that for a high value man who maybe his first wife, he marries older, but then like the Prophet ﷺ, maybe some of his wives are older, some are younger. And you know, maybe some of them you have a lot of children with, some of them you adopt some children, some of them, you know, maybe the wife helps take care of the children of the other wife. You know, whatever works with your dynamic is different for everybody, and Allah's going to decree something different for everybody. And, you know, may Allah give us what's best for us, whether it's to be wealthy or whether it's to be tested with wealth. Whatever's best for us to get to Jannah, whether it's with one wife or 4 or 3 or whatever it may be, whatever's best for us, may Allah give everybody what's best for them and gives them Jannah. Because, of course, polygyny is indeed something that, you know, obviously all 3 of us are of that mindset that that's, you know, something that we either have already done that we're seeking, right? And so I think, you know, it's important that when it comes to that as well, you need to be in the right place to do so, right? Because obviously if you if you're like, you know, in debt and all that stuff, and then you marry like 4 wives and you can't provide, I mean, you're going to be accountable to that on the day of judgment. So there are a lot of rules with it as well, and like how you must conduct yourself. But yeah, I think it really just depends. If you're just gonna marry one woman, in my opinion, I think it might be best if she's a little bit younger, just because if you're gonna put all the pressure on, especially if you wanna have a bunch of kids, if you're gonna put the pressure on an older woman to have a bunch of kids, and you're only gonna marry one woman, that might be a lot on her body. It might be very damaging for her and difficult for her to have, like, imagine you marry a woman who's 40, but you wanna have like 10 kids. That's really gonna do a lot of harm to her body, versus if you marry a woman who's, you know, younger and you wanna have 10 kids, or if you wanna marry 4 women and have 5 kids with each one. I mean, I think that's more reasonable, because you don't wanna put too much pressure on one woman.
Plus, you got to collaborate and help each other out.
Exactly.
In the perfect world.
In a perfect world, yes. And you want to be reasonable, of course. But I think you know, everybody, Allah has somebody decreed for everybody, or multiple people for some. And so it's just a matter of doing your best to please Allah by following the deen, and from there Allah is going to take care of you. Just remember, tie your camel and trust Allah, right? So you do have to do the work within your life as well. So improve yourself first deen-wise. Then look at every other area, body as well. You know, your communication skills, everything, and just work on yourself, get to the highest level you can, and inshallah, when the timing is right and you've reached that level, like whenever there's something I want in my life, whether it's an increase in my business, whether it was to get married, whatever it may be, I always, instead of saying, why is the world not giving me what I want? I'm entitled to this because I've worked hard. And we all have that thought sometimes. Like after my first 4 years grinding business, I was like, why am I not rich yet? I'm entitled to it because I worked hard for 4 years and I suffered. No, you're not entitled to it until you've done enough. So whenever there's
Allah wants it for you.
Exactly. And so whenever Allah is withholding something from me, because Allah is al-Razaq, I always think to myself, okay, why is Allah withholding it? It's not because He wants me to suffer, it's because He wants me to grow. And so where must I grow? Where must I improve myself? So anybody who's watching this right now, be brutally honest with yourself. Don't say I'm a perfect snowflake and there's nothing I could possibly improve. We can all improve. The only man who's ever perfect was the Prophet ﷺ, but the Sahaba were always trying to say, how can I donate more money? How can I do even more ibadah? How can I outdo the next Sahaba, right? Even the Sahaba who were better than us were still seeking to do more. So what audacity do we have to say that we're already perfect as we are? We all have value as we are, but how can we increase that? How can we be better? Especially in the eyes of Allah. From there, Allah's going to take care of us. So that's the mindset.
Okay. Can I interject with one
but
point?
Before that.
Go ahead.
Women would say, okay, you guys are talking about all these things, mashallah, you know what they say? They say, you guys are deluded. They say, we're deluded because we want this perfect woman who doesn't exist.
Okay.
So, do we just have to face the reality that this woman that we're looking for doesn't exist anymore? Or do we continue to vet like 200-300 women? Because they're basically, so many women have said, you guys are like deluded. Like you're living in, one sister said, in like dream world, fantasy world.
Yeah.
You're
I get that a lot, actually.
You're expecting your girl to be Miss Perfect,
Yes.
Miss Chaste, Miss Haya, whatever. And this kind of women don't exist.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say that that's actually one huge advantage of polygyny is the fact that, you know, some men have needs that are very great, and sometimes those needs cannot be reasonably met by one woman. There's too much pressure for one woman. Like, for instance, some men have a very, very high libido, and a lot of women just may not necessarily be able to keep up with the level of libido that man has. So to take the pressure off her, that is one advantage, as long as, and I think it's a very good ideal world. I mean, it doesn't always work out where sister wives are friends with each other, but if they can at least respect each other, that's one way that it can work out if a man's needs are too great. Or maybe a woman likes to have some space to herself because, you know, she's either more of an introvert, or she just likes to have her own space, or that's just what she's used to, whatever it is. So sometimes it's nice to have some space, or maybe you struggle, you know, whatever it is. So I think this is one advantage, but it just needs to be done at the time when the timing is right, when that man has the means, you know, emotionally and financially to be able to do so. But I think it's a huge advantage because it doesn't put the pressure on one woman to meet all the needs of a man, especially if that man has high goals of children or high needs of sex or whatever, or sorry, intimacy or whatever it may be. So,
I think about, I got a lot of that pushback. Hey, you have all this list, which is 5 guys, relax. And they say, you're never gonna find that. You're never gonna find a sister that will have, you know, have all these characteristics. And probably is impossible. It's a unicorn. I mean, it's worth the ask. It's worth the search. The Sahabiyat were exactly what we should actually look for in sisters. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, المرأة تنكح لأربع, right? مالها وحسبها والجمالها ودينها فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك. Islam, when it came, actually favored the inclination that Allah embedded within us originally, fitrah, to actually be served.
So true.
Because this is why we like, you know, young, virgin, not tempered, not promiscuous women, in a sense, because we like that. And brother Munir mentioned something. I'm not against, you know, a lot of people will be like, yeah, this guy is just, I'm not against it, but do not weaponize something that I fully understand and comprehend. And you come to me, you tell me like the Prophet ﷺ married an older woman, Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu anha, and then after that he married the virgin and the divorcee, the armala, all of the widow. I understand that. But you also have to understand that the same woman that you're actually speaking of, they were obedient. They took care of themselves, and then they were the al-Mu'mineen. So if you're going to try to weaponize that against someone, then you are dismissing the other hadith that talked about taking the bikr, which is the younger girl.
Yeah, I was looking at the other day in some tafsir and talking about some ayat, and just the Quran itself. In Surah Rahman, for example, it talks about hurun maqsuratun fil khiyam, right? Lam yathmithunna insu qablahum wala jan. Even in Jannah,
Yes, subhanAllah.
this is valued.
Yes.
And a lot of women will think that they're going to Jannah. One of the sisters was saying that Islam is not fair, that even in Jannah, it favors men.
Yeah.
And indeed, it's not about favoring men. It's about that even in Jannah, Allah gives men what they valued.
Yes.
Right? So even in Jannah, Allah gives women the honor that they were supposed to have in this dunya. So Allah says 2 things: that a man will value a woman who is not touched before.
Yes.
By ins or jinns. I even mentions jinn, because some women actually get touched by jinn. So they don't know that, right? Some people don't understand. So look at that, like it goes to that level.
Yeah.
And number 2, it is, they are hidden in tents. They're covered.
Yes. Unseen.
Right? So, unseen. So a lot of people think that in Jannah, women will think that in Jannah they'll go and be like, it's party, woohoo, you know, let's have fun. For the women, they think, but it's not. Actually, even in Jannah, they will be protected and honored and only restricted to their husbands.
To their own, yes.
You know?
Subhanallah.
So if even in Jannah that happens, and it's not something, oh my God, and women were like, even in Jannah we don't get to have multiple husbands.
Yeah.
We want multiple husbands too. You guys get in this dunya, and in the akhirah you get hurs and this. And I said, subhanAllah, this is, Allah says, does he not know who he has created?
Yes.
Like, yani Allah knows who he has created. Yani. He knows that he created men and women differently. But I believe a lot of the problems, the pushback comes because sisters are extremely, they think like men today, bro.
SubhanAllah.
They think like men.
And it's so
They
interesting.
value in, they're almost looking in themselves with a masculine framework. It's like now they want multiple husbands.
They want to work.
Now they want to work.
make
They want
money,
the freedom.
career.
They want
Yeah.
strength. They want the fighting.
Yes.
They want all.
All the masculine traits.
It's very
It's basically,
masculine.
you remember earlier I said, shield the man from challenges and you will get a effeminate man. And you take a woman and you provide her and you put challenges and hardship in her way, she becomes a horrible version of a man. And this is pretty much what we get these days. You get men who are not trying to indignate challenges or manufactured adversity, then they are just soft. Right? And then a masculine core grows through challenge. You have to put challenge in their path. You have to earn your spot. You have to earn your respect. And women be like, respect everyone. Nah.
Would you say that like huge increase in this homosexuality and lesbianism is because of the shift in energies?
Absolutely. I think that a masculine woman will always look for an effeminate man, and that's a terrible combination. And vice versa, you will find a feminine man is attracted to a masculine woman. Then how that society
Or
will
a man.
thrive? Yes, and then the women will be, as they are masculine, guess what? When she sees a super effeminate woman, she will be attracted to her. But the devil already did his way, so
Right.
she's gonna sway her, and then she's gonna be like, yeah, let's have, whatever,
Yeah.
the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So you get this desire and these fantasies taking over. And this is actually something that is important for women to abstain from. They spend such a countless amount of time watching this romanticizing videos.
Yeah.
And of course, when the woman is having hayat and hijab, they almost like have to exist in one spectrum.
It stops you from going there.
Correct.
It's like a
Yes, it's
block,
a barrier.
A barrier.
It's a barrier. And as I said last time, not every hijabi is pious, but every pious woman is
Is a
hijabi.
hijabi.
Or I would say niqabi, but that could be for debate too.
Right.
But the energy of a woman, if it's been shifted to masculine and she becomes a little bit more worried and she's actually very incapable of showing love and she's like trying to be assertive. And look what they teach in our sisters. Be assertive, be a speaker. And we look in the recent events of Palestine. May Allah help our brothers
Ameen,
over there. You got the women going into marches and men are putting women in the front. Do not appeal to the Eurocentric world and the Western world, because Islam came to protect women in the best way. And you brainless, spineless man, if you
Wallahi.
think that you know better than Allah,
Wallahi.
you are mistaken.
Wallahi.
If you are putting her in the front,
Facts.
you are ruining the next generation
Facts.
that's gonna come, that could come out
Facts.
of Salah ad-Din, could come
Facts.
through. It could come through next Khalid ibn al-Walid.
Facts.
So you are literally doing
Facts.
our
100%.
brothers and sisters a disservice by doing that.
100%.
But you're gonna tell me like, no, we have to show the non-Muslims that our women are
We
not
are
oppressed.
so
What do you mean by not oppressed? So you think that Islam is oppressive to women? You're gonna be just the next Piers Morgan, that piece of work. You're gonna tell me that they like Islam because they like to be oppressed. You put hijab because you see what I'm saying? Just like what kind of garbage? And I think also really briefly, if you're trying to boycott, you have to boycott with your attention, as we spoke earlier about men's attention to women. Unfollow all these chicks that you think that you get a chance, because you're not. Why? Because there is 1,000 people like you and she's jaded and she has what we call a paradox of choice. She cannot choose, she already ruined. Another thing too, vote with your money. Cut off all this stuff, everything that these companies who are supporting the other side. I'm not trying to get the video demonetized, but if you have not yet liked the video, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta like and subscribe. Don't be a ninja watcher and just leave. But let's proceed. Another aspect too is that you need to boycott these foods that are unhealthy. They're all coming from the same companies that they are supporting this atrocity. Then you cut attention. Do not watch these people who are trying to debate and say, do you condemn hummus? Do you condemn hummus? Do you condemn hummus? What are you talking of? Like, stop it. You have to support the da'wah, support the people who are actually standing for the truth. And this brother right here, Jibreel Romani, is one of them. So you have to vote with that.
$11 billion in losses since they have claimed to support the oppressor. Now, we're Muslims, so we show them what's up, and we're gonna stand together, we're gonna stand high. Well, I know most of you love the coffee and addicted to it. However, it does have a lot of ingredients that are not good for you. Sugar, fats, seed oils, and all that. So I decided to come up with something unique, but also good for you. I created the solution. I have crafted a delicious Arabica coffee that tastes amazing and they stack up really nice against the Devil Company. Well, of course. Now, we have the 16 ounce and we have the 4 ounce packets, and one is mixed with mushroom and one with hemp. Don't worry, it's halal. It doesn't have the psychedelics effect or anything like that. Just the benefits, understand that. Then we have also the grass-fed collagen creamer. This is also halal, so you don't have to worry about it. But what gets even better is that when you order 2 of these, guess what? You got a third for free. If you order 2 of these, you got the third for free. What even better is that all the proceeds, the profits that would be made through the sales, through the link below, will all be donated to support our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Now, if you're not gonna buy anything, it's fine. I'm not here to push you or shame you, and I hope you're not feeling the pressure. But it's important to support our brothers and sisters in every shape or form. Do me a favor, copy the link of this video and share it with your friends and your small circle. Also, like and subscribe to this channel. This brother is doing an amazing job. Without further ado, I'll see you guys inside, and let's go back to the video.
But going back to the subject of putting women in the line, shifting energies and all that, once you get a woman that acts like a man and you get a man acting like a woman, society is just gonna flump and everything is just gonna be wrecked, and you can see the ramifications of the 1970s, which is the sexual revolution that happens. The Muslim moral has to learn from history, and history, if it's not learned, it will repeat itself. We have the 1970s, the invention of the pregnancy pill, and we have the sexual revolution where men can do whatever they want. And this is actually feminism. A lot of men would be like, yeah, feminism made the worst version of a man too. A man who wants to sleep with a lot of women is like taking microdosing of mushrooms, smoking weed. He doesn't even value his seed, his energy. He's just spreading it like yeah, let's go. No, it's not. You have to harness that. You have to use it. Build yourself as a man. You have to be attached to the deen. And as you come closer to Allah, that's where you actually will feel the strength coming through you. Because if you're a Muslim, true Muslim, you're gonna feel that self-confidence. And confidence for Muslims should come solely from Islam. نحن قوم أعزنا الله بالإسلام. إذا ابتغينا في غير الإسلام عزة أذلنا الله. If we pursue izzah and strength and honor and confidence in anything besides Islam, we're gonna be taken down to the lowest of the lowest of the scum of the earth. So, if you're a woman, protect your chastity, protect your femininity, and anything that you might think is not major, it probably is corrupting it. If you have a slight discomfort to what we probably have discussed, we're repeating exactly what the Prophet ﷺ has prescribed. So if you're disagreeing with anything, you have to really sit by yourself. Who is programming me to think the way I'm thinking? Is the way I'm thinking that the people who programmed me, do they have the results that I want? The answer most likely would be no. So therefore, you don't follow them. This shaykhat or shaykhat who are divorced and they're trying to make you into the horrible version of a man. Yes, learn the deen, learn aqeedah, learn everything that you need to do, but also learn the skill set that will actually help you to be successful as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter. And these are in nurturing, being feminine. And for the men, we already beaten them with a stick. They already have a huge lump behind their back because we are like with every day. But the sisters has to take accountability. And we like to see us all working as a team. We're better together than separate, inshallah. And this is pretty much the shift of energy that we see in today's time. So hopefully that covered the majority of the question.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So basically here, again, to review, we have 2 high value men looking to get married. One recently got married. one is still looking to get married.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
Vetted a lot. How many have you vetted before? Like,
To be honest, I didn't like keep track, but there were.
You outnumber me?
No, I don't think so. But alhamdulillah,
it's a good number.
there were a lot of proposals, let's call them, through Instagram, alhamdulillah. But again, it was just, I am a little picky, to be honest, but like at the same time, I think I've earned the right to do that, alhamdulillah, because I've worked hard. But there are also other people who work hard who Allah hasn't given as much opportunity. So all credit is due to Allah. But alhamdulillah, it gave me the opportunity to learn a lot of things, because at first, to be honest, I will be honest that beauty was more of a priority than like religion, which I think a lot of guys could probably relate with that. And I think there's guys watching this too. And it wasn't until I went through a few paradigm shifts when I realized that you could have the most beautiful woman in the world, but if she's bad for your deen, bad for your business, bad for your health, right? That's why when we make istikhara, we ask Allah,
right,
only facilitate this for me if it's good for me across all these different things. So there's so much hikmah in Islam. Islam is all hikmah. Allah has all wisdom. So you always got to go back to the deen. Yes.
why is it hard to find a pious religious woman who's hot as well?
Okay, I'm gonna be super brutally honest with this one. The more beautiful you are, the less pressure there is to work on other aspects of yourself.
That's true.
And the less beautiful you are, the more pressure there is to work on other things.
You're battling. Okay, values built is distributed and other.
Well, you're gonna get attention, validation, and options just for being good looking. So there's less pressure to work on yourself, and so that's why. Because there were a lot of beautiful women who just didn't measure up deen-wise, and there were a lot of women who were up to scratch, who were very pious, mashallah, on the deen, everything, but who weren't really my type. And so so it is tricky for sure. And then also there's various other criteria that I had that maybe it could have been a good fit, but it just didn't work out. But so I would say that's probably why there's less pressure.
so let me ask you both now. Where does the value of a woman lie? Because it's, as you said, it's distributed. Mm-hmm. So where would you say that the value is lying? In a man, you always have to build the value. Mm-hmm. You always have to. It's an ongoing struggle. Where do we place value on women if we were to review? Like, we've talked about a few things. We've covered the issue of chastity and virginity and so on. Where does a woman have value? If a woman is, Allah built her in a certain way, okay, so where does her value come from? Is it from her PhD degree or master's? Do you value that? Do you care about her degrees?
For marriage purposes, no. I don't need a woman who has that, because
her career.
No, if anything, to be honest, for what I'm looking for specifically, and for what I think a lot of guys who are very financially successful is not. That's actually probably a negative, because he definitely doesn't need her to produce money. He more so needs somebody who's going to help take care of his empire, and because he's already got the money sorted. Versus for a man who maybe he needs some help with the bills and all that, that's the case in which that would be valuable. But
I think the career and the PhDs are actually, I'm not gonna label them as actually red flags. I would say orange flags, right? Because it's warning, meaning that she has already been in the system. She has already been indoctrinated by different theologies and ideologies that she must believe in. She has already mixed with men. She has already felt the stress of performing. That means that she probably would be most likely not to let go of that for actually having a nice home, relaxing, chilling, having cooking meals and praying and just doing the things that women do.
Yeah, this is where I feel that women think like men, because if a woman will come to you and she'll vet you, she'll ask you about your education, your business. Like, they actually value those things in you. Therefore, they value it in themselves. They think that if I have a degree, he's gonna look at me like, wow, because I look at him like, wow. Or if I am successful, he's gonna look at me and value me because I value that in him. That's why I feel that women really think in such a masculine frame today, and they've forgotten their feminine frame, and they don't assess themselves on the feminine scale. they assess themselves on a masculine scale
Yeah.
because that's where the world is kind of being driven by masculine features, masculine skills. It's a man's world. And those things are valued in the world because those things make the world move, basically.
Correct. There's two things I really want to say on this. Number one, I think a lot of men fall into the same thing on the opposite side, where a lot of men think that being quiet, shy,
There you
agreeable,
go. Good point. Very good point.
you know, not mixing
Very
too much
good
outside
point.
the home, being submissive, all these other things,
Very good
because
point.
that's what we want in a woman.
Yeah.
A lot of men think that that's going to be good, and it doesn't mean
What
that
a
you have to be
point.
the opposite of that. It doesn't mean you have to be an a-hole.
Right.
But it definitely doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. Like, just because you want your wife to agree with everything that you say doesn't mean that you should agree with everything
Right.
she says, because she's not going to
But
respect
that's
you if you're a
pushed
pushover.
though, right? Like the imams and the compassionate imams are pushing for men to be like that.
And it's very backwards.
Can you say any of those names?
If a man stays home,
Well, a lot of them are going to the revived Islamic spirit this in Canada this weekend. in
Really?
Toronto, yeah. So you can check the list of attendees. I'll just mention.
yeah.
It's called Revived Islamic Spirit.
So one
They
thing
top
is,
it, mashallah.
downwards.
one
Yeah.
thing that's really backwards about society is if a man stays home to take care of the kids, cook, clean, all that stuff, they celebrate it. If a woman goes outside the house to work and become successful and be a CEO and make a bunch of money, it's celebrated.
Yeah.
But if a woman wants to stay home, clean the house, take care of the
Shame
kids,
her, man.
which they just celebrated the man for, they shame her, even though that's actually what a lot of women want. And to not be seen by men. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of women who are in touch with their nature. And likewise, if a man wants to go and be successful and make the sacrifices when he'd rather be spending his family time, but he makes the sacrifice to stay at work and get things done and contribute to the world,
Yeah.
they shame him and call him neglectful. But if a woman did that, they'd be like, wow, look at her, go girl. So it's so stupid how backwards it is.
Yeah.
Because, and you know what? I hope this doesn't, I don't think it's going to demonetize the video. I'm just going to say,
That's all right.
it's a conspiracy.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
we're already shadow banned anyways. So it's a conspiracy, bro. Because, okay, look, if they have men and women in the workforce, they can tax twice as many people.
Yep. Right.
And they can indoctrinate the children because the mom isn't raising them properly.
Yeah.
Versus if we stuck to the fitrah and what is taught in Islam, where the woman take care of the children, protect them spiritually, protect the man spiritually, and then the man goes out there and makes things by the permission of Allah, makes things happen in business, successful, you know, and you know, takes advantage of legal ways to reduce the amount of money that's extorted from him by, you know, certain things to be sent overseas to commit atrocities. We all know what I'm talking about, taxes. But anyways, so in a legal way, of course, you know, be smart about it. Then then these powers that be that want to tax us and make a bunch of money off having both men and women work are going to suffer.
Yeah.
So it's a conspiracy. Don't fall into I'm just going to call it what it is. Don't fall into the kafar conspiracy, but instead follow the deen, follow Islam.
Inshallah. Also, I think I'm gonna circle this back really back to the roots, because when we address the symptoms, we don't just mask them and like manage the symptoms. We try to go to the roots. I think sisters lack tawakkul. The sister who actually is masculine. And let me explain to you why. Because the only trait in the world that actually is a survival trait is masculinity. You're never gonna find a man who's gonna try to be, who's gonna try to survive and adapt femininity.
No.
You're gonna find both. The man who's trying to make it will adapt masculinity, but also a woman will adapt masculinity. And masculinity is for you to garner resources, be out and about,
That's
and be
right.
seen, right?
100%.
And be pushing shoulder to shoulder with other men and outside.
100%.
And what I mean by tawakkul is that when Allah prescribes something for the sisters, for example, chastity, haya, be covered, stay away from the looks and the talks of man, Allah would not forget the sisters and bringing them their rizq. And their rizq will come in a father, a brother who's going to provide, and a husband who's going to, or a son.
Or son. Yeah.
And you're never going to know where your rizq is going to come from. And that is the problem, because they don't have tawakkul. When they
right,
don't have
right.
tawakkul, the mother will say to the daughter,
That's where the insurance policy comes in.
exactly, do not lose your job, stay in your job even when you get married, because he might divorce you. Then she has an insurance. This shows already 1 foot out, 1 foot in the marriage. She's not gonna put her best foot forward. The only way you can put your best foot forward is both legs has to be inside.
Yeah.
Then what happened is you're going to see that our sister are already with the thought of just bouncing. They don't even go through what I like to call just trying to be emotionally mature. She's just going through tantrums. She's going to take it to her mother. Her mother is still like, I told you. But that issue is actually solved through what I call, and Brother Jibril calls, proper vetting. Don't look at the point when you gave your daughter away, because she probably came and brought you a man home and she's like, I'm gonna marry him and he's the only one. I don't care about anything else. She didn't even give the father, which most of them they lack the ability to vet a brother. They don't ask about him. يقول الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام من جاءكم من ترضون دينه وخلقه فزوجوه إن لم تفعلوا يعم فساد في الأرض. Meaning that now, I would do translation for the hadith. Whomever comes to you from the man and you guys accept his character and his deen, give him your daughter.
Yeah.
Why? Because a Muslim man understand the aqidah, understand the deen, that he needs to protect your daughter, honor her, give her her rights, and receive his rights as well.
Yeah.
So you have a man that you actually trust with your daughter. But if you just go into, oh, he has money, he has this, we're not looking at money. I am as of a man if I lose everything, because I know how I can recuperate it. And Allah is a razaq. Nothing that I do or I have accumulated over the years, the businesses, everything that I have is from Allah. And if Allah decided to say remove, it's been removed.
It's done, yeah.
But I'm not gonna be despairing. I'm not gonna say like, oh, now Allah forget about me. No, بعد العسر يسر. With every difficulty will come ease. And the sisters, if you lack tawakkul, and the mothers are actually incentivizing the girls to be masculine in a sense. And I know majority of the sisters are working today, and they're gonna say, what should I do? Should I just stop? When a man comes to you, do not be entertaining dating and conversation. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite ride? Where you travel? All that is nonsense. That does not produce a fruitful marriage. What produces fruitful marriage is where the characters of the deen, you can see if you have genuine desire between the two of you. She's actually lying over everything. Do not try to ask you for hair and be talking to her for hours. No, meet the wali. The wali has to have the burden of vetting him. Then once he's vetted, he's confirmed, after that, the woman would not suffer, because that's how you follow the steps that Allah prescribed and his Prophet ﷺ. If you skip anything, and I know a lot of sisters, you might know, and other brothers too, you know some sisters got divorced because, oh, the men are bad. No, go back before the marriage. How did they meet? How did they actually interact? Allah did not put barakah. Allah removed all the protection.
100%.
That means that now you just like trying to build
100%.
society based on your limited thinking. And if there is no barakah, you can make all the money of the world.
100%.
You can get all the most beautiful women that can walk the face of earth. You can have the man who's tall, handsome, but if there is no barakah in those things that I have mentioned, the kids will suffer, you will suffer, and you'll pay the price. So may Allah forgive us, inshallah.
Ameen.
And I think I have touched on that point.
Yeah,
so,
alhamdulillah.
yeah.
All right, I think we're good.
I think we do for part 2. I think people loved it. If you guys enjoyed the video,
Yeah.
do me a favor, like the video, comment below, and if you made it at the end, check out the links in the description. Get the vetting class, the Muslim Alpha course.
And leave us your comments. Let us know what you
leave
think.
the comments. Let us what you think. If you are having an opposite, point.
And prove what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's spark some debate. Let's spark some interesting debate in the comments. So drop them below and make sure to check out the links in the description as well.
Be respectful. Do not be just back your points with ahadith. And if you have anything that makes sense, don't just say like, oh, these are misogynist. Where? What did we speak of? Because if we know, I mean, this has been like a 2-hour, maybe an hour and a half conversation, and I think is just maybe watch it once, watch it twice, but inshallah it was manfa'ah. If it has something beneficial and good, it's from Allah. If it was bad, it's
Our mistakes.
from our mistakes, and may Allah all forgive us, inshallah ta'ala.
Barakallah feekum. So check it out, guys. Our solution is again to go back to Quran and Sunnah. Let's go back to those traditional roles, the traditional ways. You don't want to just talk about the problem without solutions. We're always offering solutions.
Yes.
The solution is there. It's in front of us. It's a matter of us actually implementing it.
Inshallah.
Barakallah feek. Hussein.
Habibi.
Hayakumullah.
Always a pleasure.
Brother Munir. Allah yabarak
Inshallah.
feekum. And see you guys, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.